Hello guys, once again in the another video of React Native. In this lecture we will talk about what is button and what is touchable highlight and what is touchable opacity. So in the React Native we can perform the action with the different ways. We can use the button, we can use touchable highlight, we can use touchable opacity. So here we will differentiate when we use the button and when we use the touchable highlight and when we use touchable opacity, and what is the basic difference between the three components. So in this lecture we will differentiate. So first is the button. So first of all we will import the button here. So button is already imported here, and here we will use the button. So I am using here another view, and inside this view we will add a button. So in the container we are using here flex1. We just add here justify content is center, and here we use the another property is the flex direction, and we use here column. So in the first view we just add here a button. We can directly add here button and just add the properties of the button here. So the first property of the button we can use here is the title. So in the title you can give the name of the button. Suppose I want to use here button press. So simply this is the title of the button. You can give any title of the button here. Another prop mostly we use for the button is the color. So we can give the color of the button. So here suppose I want to give a green color, and the another props of the button is the on press. So on press, and with the help of the on press you can directly perform the action. So now save it and check on the emulator and the simulator. Yeah, so now the screen in the emulator and the simulator is looking like this. So by default in the simulator button will be show the text color will be changed with the color property, but with the Android the background color will be changed green and the text color will be show in the white color. So it is the by default when we change the color property of the button. Suppose I want to add here a view style, and here I just add the background color of the view. I am using here a green, and here I am using a yellow, and just I save it and check on the simulator and the emulator. When I save, so by default on press is cold because we are using here on press. Yeah, so now save it and check on the simulator and the emulator. So the text color is changed in the iOS when we change the property of the color in the iOS, and when we change the color property of the button, so the background color of the button is changing. So the by default text color is white here, but when we are changing the button color property, so the background color is changing. So green color is not showing here because the yellow color is overwriting the green color in the Android. So suppose I want to change the font color of the button in the both applications, so I cannot do with the button. So suppose I want to change the text color of the button in the Android, so I cannot do it. So many weak points of the button. So actually button is a basic component that should render nicely on any platform. So button actually support a minimum level of customization. So if you want to use more customization of the button, so you should use a touchable opacity or touchable highlight. So now we use here a touchable opacity and touchable highlight. So for just we copy and paste here, and for the touchable highlight and touchable opacity we should include here. React Native actually provide the touchable highlight, and the another component is the touchable opacity. So now we just replace button with the touchable opacity code from here, and just add here again the touchable highlight. So actually touchable highlight is the wrapper for making view respond properly to touch. So actually touchable highlight work as a wrapper. So inside the touchable highlight we can add a view, or inside the view we can use multiple components. So suppose I want to add here another view inside the touchable highlight, and we can perform the action on the view with the help of the touchable highlight. So I am just adding here a view, and inside the view we just add here a text. In the text we just add here name of the button. We can add here the touchable highlight, and here I can just add a margin on the top side is the 30, and just save it. The touchable highlight button is looking like this, so we require here a more CSS, then it will be look like a button. So we can just add here. So here we can just add a CSS of the button like this. Now we save it and check on the emulator and the simulator. So now the touchable highlight is looking good. So here I want to change the text color also as a white color, so we can do it. Here we can add the style of the button. So we can add here font size. Suppose I am giving here a 16. Color is a white. We can also add here a font weight is a bold. Now save it. So now touchable highlight button is looking good because we can apply more customization on the touchable highlight. So now we just add here a few other property of the touchable highlight is the, so a very important prop is the active opacity. So we can set the active opacity of the touchable highlight 0 to 1. So suppose I want to add here a 0.5 is the active opacity, so we can set it 1 or we can set it 0 also. And here we set the underlay color. So underlay color I am setting here a pink color, and like button we can apply here a on press. So I am just copy from here and I am just adding here on press is the another props of the touchable highlight, and here we can just show touchable highlight press. Just I save it and check on the simulator and the emulator. So when I'm clicking on the touchable highlight, so a on press function is called. So alert message is showing here. So when I click on the button, so here a button on press is calling. So I am showing here a yellow color, and yellow color in the Android is the background color. So I can use here a white color, but the white color in the Android is the background color, so the button text will not be show here. So we need to add here a another color. Suppose I want to use here a orange color, so the button will be look like this. So now we use the touchable opacity, how it's work. Suppose I want to show a message in the bottom side. Here I am using a another view, and in the view I will show a message. So the style will be used from the view, and the background I will remove from here, and I am just using here a state. I will declare here a state. And just I am hiding the alert here and setting a message and show this message in the bottom side. So now save it and just I click on the button. So button press will be show here. When I'm clicking on the touchable highlight, so a touchable highlight will be show. The question is that here is how touchable highlight work. So when the active opacity is 0.5, so a effect you can see when the 0.5 active opacity we are using, so background color is a little pink here, but when I am using here a suppose 0.1, so when we are using active opacity is 0.1, so when I am clicking, so you can see the background effect here. So when I am clicking, so here a background is more pink is showing here, and when I'm using here a active opacity 0, so you can use here a more pink color, so like this. And in the Android it will be like in the same way it will work in the Android and in the iOS. So when I'm using active opacity is 1, so underlay color will not be show. Suppose when I'm clicking here, so nothing is showing here, not any color will be show when you use here a active opacity 1. So if you want to show the active opacity, so you can set it according to your requirement. So another button we use here a touchable opacity. In here I will show touchable opacity. So a very little difference between the touchable opacity and the touchable highlight is that in the touchable opacity you cannot use the underlay color. Suppose I want to save this, and here text color will also we will change the touchable opacity. Yeah, now save it and check on the emulator and the simulator. So when I click on the touchable opacity, so you can see here no underlay color is showing here because this property is not exist in the touchable opacity. We can set here the active opacity, but we cannot set the underlay color. Suppose I am using here active opacity, and if I am using this as a 0 and just save it, so you can see here a just the text will be hide, but not a underlay color is working here. So this is a basic difference between the touchable highlight and the touchable opacity. So you can set the button style here, or you can give a style of the button directly, because touchable highlight and touchable opacity, another property is the style. Suppose I want to use this style property inside the touchable highlight, so you can set here, and I am just removing style from here, and in the same way you can use the style property in the touchable opacity. Removing the style from here and just adding here. Yeah, so now save it. Yeah, so you can see here, so the button will be showing like before it is showing. So we can set the style directly in the touchable highlight, or we can set the style inner view. So now I am giving the style in the touchable highlight and the touchable opacity directly, but you can set in the inner view if you want. You can wrap more than one component also, but now I am using here a single text, so you can, it is optional, you can use directly text here, or you can wrap it inside the view. Suppose I am just using here a single text, so you can comment the view here and use a single text directly, so it will be show. So it is showing in the same way like it is showing before. So it is the touchable highlight and it is the touchable opacity. So underlay color is not the property of the touchable opacity we are using here. But it is not working, so I am just commenting it. So here only just active opacity will be work, and here the both property is exist, active opacity and the underlay color. So it is the basic difference between the touchable highlight and the touchable opacity. So I hope this video is very helpful for differentiate between the button, touchable highlight and touchable opacity. So if you have any query, any question regarding to this lecture, so please let me know in the comment section. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching.